Hello, everybody. So today we're going to talk about cluster weapons and how they are best used in DCS World. So with cluster weapons, the thing that we have to understand is that they do not affect one specific target. They are what's known as an area effect weapon. So instead of affecting one pinpoint target like a laser guided bomb or a GPS bomb where you can hit a target in a very specific point, these weapons affect an entire area. Now, this area can sometimes be as small as a couple hundred feet, all the way up to about 1,000 to 2,000 feet in a certain direction. So, because these are area effect weapons, they are great and useful in DEED operations, so destruction of enemy air defenses, along with affecting storage areas and other places where there are large groups of enemies clustered in one area. This allows the cluster munitions, which is a casing made up of that contains smaller bomblets that are designed to affect either anti-infantry or anti-armor roles. So your CBU 87, your CBU 103, and your, I believe it's the CBU 99, are your anti-infantry weapons. These are designed to essentially affect infantry, light, and no armor vehicles, obviously in an area. The CBU 97, 105, and Mark 20 are all of your anti-tank weapons. These are designed to affect small amounts of tanks in a given area. And they all work differently, so we're not going to break down each one of them in this particular episode. But what we're going to talk about is how to employ them and what to use them best on. So in most of the operations that you will be on, they're more effective as a destruction of enemy air defense weapon. Now, what the best use case of these are is as a destruction of enemy air defense weapon. This means is in once the SAM site has either been suppressed by harms or has had its radar knocked out, the next task is to destroy the launchers so that they can't be packed up, shipped off, and used at another site. The idea is to essentially completely destroy the site so that it can't be used again. So in this case, the U.S. Air Force usually will use Mavericks or cluster weapons. So in this case, we're going to be using CBU 105s to accomplish this task. And there are two factors that we need to keep in mind. One is our approach direction, and number two is where are we telling the weapons to land. So because they are an area effect weapon, and because they're bomblets that get dispersed from a casing, this means that they are heavily influenced by the wind. Now, the CBU 103s and 105s are what are known as wind correcting munitions dispensers, or WICMDs. These canisters and the tail fins adjust for the wind up until the canisters release the submunitions. So that means that once the submunitions are released, the wind now can act on them as they slowly float down to the ground. And if the wind is strong enough, it can move these bomblets off in one direction. Now, the wind in this mission is light, it's only about 6 knots, so by the time that they activate and go off, they won't have drifted too far off from where we're going to be targeting. However, the other thing that's also going to impact the weapon's dispersal is not only our attack direction, but also the release point. So the release point, what I mean is when the bomb essentially opens and starts dispensing the submunitions. So when it starts opening and dispensing the submunitions, it will do so at the impact point, which in our case will be targeting this launcher here. Now, depending on the impact point and our approach, that means that if we approach from this direction, our submunitions will impact here and carry off in this direction. This is because the weapon mainly focuses on the initial release, not the center of the cluster. So when your weapon disperses its submunitions, it will start at the impact point. This is the same for a CCIP drop, and it will continue in your direction of travel. This is important for when you're trying to affect, say, a line of tanks that go like this. This means that you can only attack in a direction going from this way or this way. This way, the submunitions will hit the targets along this axis. Otherwise, attacking from this direction, your submunitions will impact here and then continue in this direction, and if they're not wide enough, they will not affect this unit here or this unit here. These are all kinds of things that you have to consider when you're going to be employing a cluster weapon. Now, since DEED is the most obvious use case for these and has been used even recently as the Gulf War in 1991, then we are going to be demonstrating their use case in a slightly more modern, as the CBU 97 was not entirely operational during the Gulf War. So we're going to be taking F-16 and we're going to be attacking this SA-11 site, which is still fully operational right next to Maycop. We're going to be attacking from the south, and our goal is to release the weapons here. They should loft up. We will loft them up. They will impact, and we'll be off and ducking out of here before hopefully the SA-11 starts unleashing weapons on us. So, with that out of the way, let's get to the demonstration.
Altitude. Altitude. Pull up.
Pushing in 350. 6 miles out. SA-6. Miles. 10 miles. That's just the 6. 9 miles. 8 miles. SD. 8. 7. 6. Light the burners. You see them on? And weapons away. Traffic flares out. Out of burn.
Pull up. Pull up. Altitude. Altitude.
perfect detonations all over the site. Assailant site destroyed. Alrighty, everybody. So I hope that was useful in demonstrating how to use cluster weapons and how they can be effective against SAM sites. And I will see you in the next video.